2001, Pocono. I got to race you.
Yep.
I learned something that day. I don't know what you thought about it, but I've got a pretty comfortable lead, and you run me down, and it was just me and you, and I was doing everything I could, blocking, going crazy. You had a way faster car. And you were trying to get to my inside over and over and over, and I kept blocking you and cutting you off, and we come down the short stretch into the tunnel turn, and you went to the high side. And I thought, oh, man, I don't know how this is going to work out. And I thought I went into that corner deep. And I thought I'd carried it down in there far enough to maybe give you, like, a pause, you know, like, oh, I'm going to have to give this corner up. But he drove it down in there, like, way deeper than me, completely missed the corner, but still beat me on exit. I don't know how in the hell he did it. I guess it's just going around that racetrack more times than I had. And you know what was possible for that corner. But, man. And I was trying to think, you know, that was a great experience for me, and I learned a lot and got, you know, getting beat by you, one of the best in the sport at that time. You know, you don't like to lose, but it was fun to be racing one of the big guys in the sport. And I was trying to think if we had any other good battles. It's kind of funny because I couldn't really think of any. I'm sure there are some, but I couldn't really think of any. You know, we'll race for 15, 20 years and
nothing like that one.
Nothing like that.
I mean, I'm sure we had our battles, you know, but not for a finish like that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if we had any other. Well, I know we didn't have any other for the wins.
Yeah.
But I know we had some battles throughout something. You know what I mean?
We never had any problems though.
Nope.
Not that I remember.
No, I don't. I'll have to say that I don't remember anything like that because you know as well as I do when you're a driver, you remember everything that when somebody hits you, you remember who that was to the day. Yeah. You'll never forget it. But when you're racing somebody clean, I don't know how many times, you know, Mark Martin, you race him and, you know, you race, and I was like, I can't remember how many times. I just never had a problem with him.
Never.
And you're the same way.
Yeah.
You know, we just never. And that day there, I mean, it was like, you know, if you'd have won and I'd have finished second, that was a great race.
Yeah.
That would have been a great race, right? But you know, because I remember that video, you know, you had your rear camera.
Yes,
and
you're moving back and forth across
I'm trying to figure it out. And, you know, so, yeah, those are great battles. But I don't know. I'm sure we had another one somewhere.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, not to that extent.
Well, I was sitting there, and like I said, man, I couldn't believe how deep you drove into the tunnel turn. And I don't even know if you remember much about that. But
I do.
You buried it.
Yep. That was my shot.
Yeah.
You know that. I mean, it was, I think I was coming for the white. If I remember correctly. Yeah. So, and I was always, I never led a lot of laps, but always got to the end, hopefully, to lead that lap or lead laps. And I remember it vividly because it's like, all right, you know, coming, get to you, lose the nose a little bit, dive inside, not going to happen. And, you know, I don't know why. The only reason why I went the outside because you gave it to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, well, either going to stick or ain't going to stick.
Yeah.
So, but luckily I just drove her off in there and it stuck. I probably learned a little bit like, oh, you can go that far.
So you've never driven it that deep into that turn ever before that? Because like, how confident were you that was going to work?
Well, I'm sure I did, but I didn't make it either. You know, it didn't work.
Right, and it worked. That's
but it worked that time.
I was like, holy moly!
Yeah.
And then he come off the corner, and he's like 5 car lengths in front of me, kind of easing away. I'm like, damn, that was it. That's it.
That was it.
Yeah. It's over
now.
Yeah, that's always the good feeling on my end,
oh,
the bad
God.
on your end, and
Yeah.
I've been on that end too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
A lot of people were asking that I asked you about that because that's a lot of people's fond memories about me and anything me and you ever did on the racetrack together.
I just can't believe. I guess y'all just raced too clean to not have a single incident. I mean, like I can't remember one either.
I would say that me and Bobby we're kind of similar in how we race on the track and kind of how we handled ourselves off the track. I mentioned that driver's intro stage because that was always a unique dynamic where all the drivers were forced to be in one place at one time, and it was fun to watch how they interacted, whether they were able to be social or it was impossible for them to be social, right? And if you went up and speak to one, what kind of conversation you would get or what you might not get, you know. You learned a lot about your competitors in those moments.
Yeah, you bring up a question to somebody or, hey, how's it going? And sometimes you'd want to get nothing out of somebody or, okay, move on to the next person,
Yes.
you know. And then you had your clique.
Yes,
you know,
you
you'd
did.
always talk to, you know.
Who was your clique? Who did you like to talk to?
It's probably DJ.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And Mark, Terry, obviously. You know.
How did that go with you and Terry? Because, Kurt, Kurt and Kyle, they don't really kind of mesh well at times on the racetrack. I mean, they seem to be working it out, but over the last couple of years. But even Ward and Jeff talk about being competitive.
Yeah.
How did you and your brother deal with that? I mean, y'all seem to have handled it quite well, but did y'all ever have any kind of tough situations y'all had to talk it through?
Well, I think Terry, if there was anything that I did wrong, he didn't probably beat me up on it.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably didn't tell me. One time at Talladega, I think I wadded up, one of them crashed, kind of running in the back of somebody, and he was in it. And I remember him saying, like one of those things, I probably should have missed that type of thing. I think that was probably the only thing that he's ever really said to me. But, like I said, there might be things he probably thought about, but he maybe just didn't say it.
Yeah.
But that also could be from our dad, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, he never really did, and he always helped me out. So, I mean, it was never a race that, I'm like running, I didn't go, look for Terry's number and where's he at and this and that. So we always made fun of we're the brothers that got along.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unique.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know that some of that was the age gap. And then also, again, our parents.
Yeah.
We're going to let that happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we pretty much just didn't have that built in us. I mean, from the get-go.
You mentioned Talladega. I think that's where I got my revenge for Pocono. I remember passing you in that little
short shoot.
Yep, coming into turn one.
Yeah, you put me on the apron.
Did I?
Yeah.
That's
when your dad won.
No, when I won, one of the last passes was passing him at the flag stand.
Oh.
You went one, I went one way, you went that way, and I went that way.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
You know which one he's talking about,
Yes.
though. When this race comes up all the time, and he hates talking about it.
You on the apron? I was on the apron.
Yeah,
I think I was below that.
Jesus.
You did. You messed his whole day.
I had to lift, and you had to lift.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we both
That's
got
right.
ruined.
Was it Skinner?
Yeah.
Somewhere up in there.
I don't know if you heard about this, but it's important that I tell this now because
we brought it
I
out.
need you to know. Yes, Daddy hated Skinner, right? Dad didn't like having a teammate, didn't like Mike, whatever that was. I don't know. We'll never know. But I'm pushing Mike. You're behind me, I think, and we're just logging laps. And I'm thinking more and more as we get closer. Like, how am I going to get around this guy? You could pass below the yellow line. There was no rule then, and I believe.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Get close to the end. And then I see that outside line's not there. Nobody's out there. And then finally, there's Dad, and he's 8 rows back, 7 rows back, 6 rows back. And I'm like, okay, now what do? If I jump in front of him and we go to the back, he's going to chew my ass all, I'm never going to hear the end of it. What'd you do that for? Or he's going to put me in the middle and I'm going to the back anyways, whatever, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I can't jump in front of him. And he's coming, and, man, I can't push Mike to
right.
I can't.
That's a bad spot to be in.
Literally.
You were the only friend he had out there.
No. Literally, I'm not doing everything I can to push Mike.
Yeah.
And I'm like lifting more and more, and I'm like, well, I can't shove Mike back into the lead. I had opportunities. You were pushing me. The whole pack's pushing us. And I could have just shoved Mike, and that would have been a whole entirely different race.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I was sitting there going, and finally, coming through the tri-oval, I was like, I'm just going, I got to run. And I went to the apron, and I'm down there, and I'm looking at Mike, and he ain't coming up. He ain't giving me the room to enter one. And I'm like, so I should have just, bam, door slammed him and seen what happened. But I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Yeah.
But I had to lift,
Yeah.
and I ended up 14th. And
Yeah.
I don't know where
I think
you
I was
ended up.
18th. Yeah.
I was in such
Just
a
something like that.
screwed up
Yeah.
space right then
but-
in that moment.
But the only thing, so the good would happen out of that race, because that was in 2000.
That's another one of them where
That was
when we
2000.
see that replay,
Right.
everybody's like, oh
this
Dale's
was
last
such a
win,
great moment.
awesome moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you have no idea.
So
But the beauty of that race, when it's all said and done, I was, obviously I was in my trailer, dang it, trying to relive it, right? But I do have that hat signed by your dad in Victory Lane.
What?
Yeah, 'cause that was a Winston No
It,
Bull.
it was a no bull race.
No Bull 5.
Yeah, so
Were
I
you
got
one of the No Bull guys?
probably.
Oh.
That cost me $1 million.
Oh, that does suck.
That whole story now really just
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Ramps it way up.
Sorry.
You cost him $1 million.
Yeah.
I should be apologizing to you.
So anyway, but I got a hat signed by your dad from that Victory Lane.
Did
I
you
stick
go
with
to
that?
Victory Lane?
I didn't go, but I got it.
But you
from-
got it somehow?
I got
Yeah.
Chris Williams got it for me.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, so I got even though it happened, I mean, I got something good out of that.
No, but wait a second. All right. Do you recall your thought process? I mean, you're here. We're talking about it. When Dale went to the apron, I mean, like, give us your lap on from your vantage point on what you were thinking. I know it's going to be tough for
I
you.
can't even remember. I just can look at the video and go, oh,
Well,
yeah,
but he remembers being mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that. I knew. I'm racing for championship points, the whole thing, and I thought that was the line to be in. I knew that they were coming on the outside, but I couldn't get there. It seemed like, and I just remember thinking that we're in the right place, at the right time, and when I thought, because that was what 2 to go, 3 to go. And we're just getting to the end of it as we log laps until you get there and you kind of get your chess game figured out and who you're with, who you're whatever. But when you got put on the flat, I was there, and I just knew when I lifted that, I mean, it's like just took all the wind out of my car, all the sail out of it. So I couldn't rebound from anything at that point in time. Then I was trapped on the bottom.
Yeah.
I couldn't go anywhere. But just, I mean, if you're asking, that's kind of what I remember the most about it, just thinking that we were okay.
Yeah.
But then that train on the outside was coming faster, and we
They
couldn't
were
stop
coming faster because I'm sitting there running 3/4 throttle trying to figure out how to get out from behind Mike.
it. Right.
You'd have smacked me on the back of the head if you'd have known all that in the moment. You want to hear the rest of that conversation with Bobby Labonte? Well, you can listen to the full podcast. The Dale Jr. Download is available on all major podcast platforms.